Now, from across the tri-states, this is KHQA Sports.
Well, tip-top the evening, everybody, and welcome to week 7 of the high school football season, where we've got more drama tonight than an 8th grade lunchroom, and a game so big in Centralia, Clark County, that we're bringing you 2 days worth of coverage on that one, and it is well worth it, my friend.
Absolutely. That's well worth the wait for tomorrow, but we've also got a couple of teams fighting tonight for their playoff lives, including everyone's preseason darling, the KHQA Chiefs, who essentially have to win out in district to keep alive their hopes for a return to the postseason. Let's take you there right now. Calvert Stadium. It's the return of Trevor Roth. Boy, is it good to see him back on the sideline. He would come into play a little bit later. KHQA down 7-0 here. You see Gabe Vandenberg working to the sideline to Darian Sanders. That's a first down. Vandenberg really good on the run tonight in short passing situations. Another one on the run that hits Alex Meek, left sideline. Another first down. And here we go. A few plays later, Trevor Roth makes his grand entrance, hits the hole, and he is gone. Cuts it to the left. 27 yards for Mr. Roth. He is back with a full head of steam. Ties the game up there 7-7. And the crowd here on homecoming, they absolutely love it. But Williamsburg would march down the field again and score, but not before a little defense for Mr. Roth as well. Very talented Raider quarterback rolls out, but Roth going to give you nothing. He's going to sit you down near the sideline. No, sir, he says. Williamsburg would score later in that drive, but Gabe Vandenberg doesn't sweat it. 82-yard pass completion here down the right field sideline, and that would go all the way for a score. KHQA led 21-20 at halftime, led 27-20 at one point, but unfortunately a heartbreaker tonight. Williamsburg comes back on, and they win it 33-27 over the Chiefs tonight. But we do have a grill qualifier to tell you about. It's Paul Wellborn of KHQA, so he gives himself a chance to win a great grill at the end of the season, Chris.
Indeed. Let's talk about the Big E tonight. First day of coverage. We've got early highlights tonight from Clark County and Centralia. Centralia coming in with a 70-game conference win streak. Clark County bound and determined to end it tonight. The running game trying to make some things happen, but that big, giant Centralia defensive line doing work early on in this one. Oh, look at all of these guys. But look, here comes Jacob Trump free early on, and Clark County would snare an early 6-0 lead. That's how the first half would end. Second half, it would be Clark County leading 12-0. Centralia scores 15 unanswered. Looks like they're going to keep the streak going. Centralia, though, cannot stop Clark County at the end. The Indians get it done tonight. 20-15 is your final. We kept the photographer there all night long. Coming up tomorrow night on overtime, a complete wrap-up of this gigantic game from start to finish, starting at 10:30 tomorrow night. Congratulations to Quentin Hamner and company. That was a huge, huge victory. That highlighting a rather loaded overtime docket that includes some more football, Triopia and route renew hostilities tomorrow. Nick Lonergan getting his first home start for Quincy University. We've got softball, volleyball, soccer, you name it, coming your way tomorrow, and even a little cross country. See you at 10:30 with all of that. Scores tonight from the Clarence Cannon Conference. Macon pitching the shutout tonight against Mark Twain. That Tiger defense very much for real. 21-0 was your final there. At last check, South Shelby was leading Highland 25-0. Not quite sure if that's gone final yet. We'll check that for you and get you a score here in a few minutes. Big night for Monroe City. Big night for Blake Grice. Battle of winless teams. Monroe City winless no more. And our guy, Brendan Williams, back and healthy for the first time this season, played tonight. His Monroe City defense forced 5 fumbles on the night. Monroe City gets a quality win, 49-21 over Louisiana. Ross, Palmyra, and Brookfield.
Palmyra, Brookfield, indeed. Tough night for the Panthers, but they showed they could hit you in the mouth a little bit on defense from time to time tonight. That was Ben Altoff. Huge drop right there on the running back. And later, Palmyra would make it tough on Brookfield to get their running game going at all. But as you'll see here in a second, that passing game opened things up a little bit for the visitors tonight. Palmyra needed a little bit more punch in the offense. Brookfield comes away with a 31-14 win over the Panthers on the road tonight. Chris.
It was homecoming tonight in America's hometown. Hannibal taking on Moberly. Winner would take controlling interest in the NCMC, and I can't say this diplomatically. The Pirates just about putrid in the first half in every phase of the game. Not so Moberly, running the ball and running it well in this game behind Greg Bain, who was nearly unstoppable. He'd get stopped, though, eventually at the 10-yard line. That sets up the field goal at this point by Rick Webb puts Moberly up at that point 3-0. Moberly not done yet. I mentioned Mr. Bain. He was like Bane, the supervillain tonight as far as Hannibal was concerned in this one. Going into the end zone for the score right here. Actually, that one was Greg Bain just taking it to the house. Look at him run away, 27 yards. As I mentioned, Hannibal got nothing going in the first half. This interception, that by Scott Mason, ends the first half scoreless for Hannibal. They were down 9-0. Second half starts with a flourish in this game as Hannibal gets an 80-yard rumble right here to start the second half from Caleb Beanick. That starts things in motion for the Hannibal Pirates. They weren't done yet. Beanick with 193 yards rushing on the night, 2 touchdowns. This guy, Mitch Nichols, had 3 touchdowns on the night, including this 27-yarder. Hannibal comes all the way back, stays undefeated, and gets the victory tonight. Nice win for the Hannibal Pirates as they avoid the upset bid at home. More scores to pass along tonight from the Tri-Rivers Conference. Knox County is the hottest team in our area right now. Superstar quarterback Donovan Edwards with another 4 touchdowns tonight as his team beats Scotland County 52-6. North Shelby was trailing Putnam County in the 4th quarter. Both these teams, I believe, looking for their first win on the season. North Shelby down 7 at last check in this ball game, and Wright City hands Clopton a loss tonight. 28-22 was your final there. Let's go to Illinois, Ross.
Q&D against Peoria Manual, where the Raiders would score early, often, and just about every way you could possibly think of. We'll take you early on. Chad Thompson, the rush TD, he's off to the races from short distance. 7-0 Raiders, but everybody was getting in on the rushing game tonight. That's Connor Obert breaking through the lines there. Puts the Raiders up by even more, but Jordan Chappell really put together a good night. Later, he does the work on defense. You'll see him sky here, a nifty pick, and he's going to run it all the way back to the house. Jordan Chappell getting it done on defense, as we mentioned, but he is not done in this highlight whatsoever. Chappell later would get it done on, special teams. Here he is on the punt return. He's going to field this one on the bounce and come right towards the camera. Jordan Chappell first had that pick 6. Now he's going to run it back. He just can't be stopped tonight by Manual. Really, none of the Raiders can. Big win at home tonight, 48-8 over the visitors.
Not only that, Ross, he also had an 80-yard kickoff return tonight. 3 touchdowns every possible way you can score them. He's a Player of the Week nominee, no doubt. So too is Jordan Osborne for Quincy High, who ran wild tonight to help keep Quincy High's playoff hopes alive. They've got to win out, remember, down the stretch. The Blue Devils take care of business tonight against East Moline. Osborne with at least 4 touchdowns. Haven't yet seen final stats. He was pretty darn good tonight. Jacksonville staying alive in the hunt for playoff berth. They knock off Taylorville tonight in a tight one, 21-7. Reggie Bratton with a pair of long touchdown catches early to help the Jacksonville Crimsons get the victory on the night. Let us move on to games still in action. We've got the Macomb Bombers with a late start tonight on homecoming, taking on Princeton, and this was your biggest highlight of the first half. It comes courtesy right here of this guy, Jacob Moon. Look at this punt return. We saw goodness earlier. You saw goodness earlier from Jordan Chappell. This is just about as good. Won't net him a touchdown, but he's going to do everything in his power to lurch and Rick Upchurch's way all the way deep into the red zone. Got all the way to the 2-yard line. That would set up Jared Rockhold, who would score from there, giving Macomb the early lead in this ball game. The Bombers were leading in the 3rd quarter. Again, late start in this game, 20-0. Looks like Macomb is going to stay undefeated tonight, as well as the Bombers were doing a lot of good work on this ball game. Also tonight, Illini West taking on Trenton, a team that visited all the way from the other side of Missouri. Early 6 o'clock start time tonight didn't seem to affect Illini West's excellent play tonight. Great interception on the first pass play of the night. You know when you've made a 5-hour road trip and this is your start, it's not going to be a good night. Alex Orth with the interception sets up Brighton Smith on the very next play from 36 yards away. He's in for the score. Brighton had 2 touchdowns on the night. Brody Gronwald, the outstanding rushing quarterback, none too shabby either. On the Chargers' next drive, he's going to take the ball, move it up the sidelines, and pick up 8 hard yards there. That would set the table for Alex Appel. He had 2 touchdowns in the night, was awfully good as well. You'll see him break away from everybody, cut back, and go into the end zone for the score. Everybody scoring for the Chargers tonight. We'll leave you with a Ben Giddings 2-yard touchdown as the Chargers plow through Trenton tonight. 48-0 would be your final in that ball game. Ross, West Prairie.
First quarter scoreless between West Hancock and Pittsfield-Grigsville Perry. The Saukeys still alive in their playoff hunts. Let's start off with West Hancock. That was Corey Dorothy hitting Jesse Espinoza for a short gain, but that drive would stall, and the Saukeys would look for that first score, and they would ride the run game of Zach Abney, as you see right there for the nice pickup, and Ike Whitaker. They rode them downfield. The short gain set up the big touchdown here. Wade Smith gives it up to Abney. Push, 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 and he's finally in. About 5 seconds of stoppage right there before the whistle was blown, and they make it count on the touchdown right there. Abney given the ball once again. The 2-point conversion goes across, and it was 8-0 Pittsfield at that point. They would go on to win this one in a shootout, 48-36 over West Hancock. They're still alive.
I meant to say West Hancock, not West Prairie. There you go. It's one of those nights. We got too many Wests in our area. Let's move on tonight. Central Southeastern still undefeated, taking care of business as we expected tonight. Dalton Hubner, a rushing and receiving touchdown. Douglas Weiss, a rushing and receiving touchdown. This game was over before it started, 38-0 at the half. Big win for Central Southeastern. Also coming up, we've got Unity Payson with a much-needed win, or excuse me, Brown County, I should say. This reversed. Brown County with a much-needed win over Unity Payson. 19-6 was your final. The Hornets trying to stay alive in the playoff chase. They do that tonight. Brady Long with a 74-yard punt return. the night for punt returns, Ross. That was the
Absolutely.
biggie tonight as the Hornets get the victory and continue to try to pace their way to a playoff berth. Also tonight, hard luck loss for Pleasant Hill Western, which is now eliminated from playoff competition. We'll get to them in a second. As we mentioned, Triopia tomorrow. Greenfield knocks off Pleasant Hill Western in double overtime 12-6, which eliminates the Wolves from playoff contention. Carrollton tonight takes care of business at West Central. 34-0 was your final there. Beardstown improves to 6-1 on the season with a hard-fought 20-13 win on the road over Farmington. Knoxville, too much for Rushville Industry. 44-8 was your final in that ball game. No score yet on Abingdon and BPCA. We do have a fourth quarter score on Mercer County and West Prairie. It was ugly. 73-0 is your score in that ball game. Also, nothing yet on Fort Madison Fairfield on the road tonight. One softball score to pass along in the makeup from yesterday's semifinals in District 9. Knox County moving on to the championship game with a 6-2 victory. Highlights of those softball championships in districts coming up tomorrow on the Big Overtime Show. We've got college women's soccer for you tonight. Dave Musso's Lady Hawks in need of a slump buster tonight, and Ashley Burton would single-handedly provide. That's Brittany Custer with the service, Maddie Toretta with the assist, and Ashley Burton putting it down hard. Burton nearly scored another goal moments later. She did have a second goal in this ball game. She was all the scoring on the night as the Quincy University women win tonight 2-0 to get off the schneid. The men were tied going into overtime at 0s apiece.